for, we know we're supposed to do these two things, and now Bloxer, I suppose we get to see whether they pick it up or not. I am happy to see Top Esports taking away the Nico, however, they are still giving up Yunara to JDG.
I wasn't sure if you were going to go straight towards the Yunara. It's something you don't want to give over to JiaQi, certainly, but also picking it first very much does declare the way you want your team fights to go. For top, I think they want to pick up Creme's champions as early as possible. As we've been saying, he loves to go towards the Azir as much as possible, but I think grabbing yourself the Orianna here opens you up to grab that Orianna Nocturne combo if you want to be aggressive, or just something else that you can really have a good ball delivery system alongside. With the Jarvan taken off of the board, I think the Pantheon is a pretty good shout right here. Although we've seen it quite a lot out of NaiYou, he hasn't necessarily found the most success with it.
Yeah, it's a difficult thing to measure by win rates, especially in the big picture, because Top Esports this split are a team that lose a lot. So nobody's really got a fantastic success rate on any individual champion outside of, as we talked about, Fengyue's Poppy, which is still a possibility. Given now that we've paired the Orianna Pantheon together, though, there is a lot of focus on NaiYou and the ability to output global pressure. We talked about in previous series how Grand Starfall out of Pantheon is truly the test of a good Pantheon, because there aren't a whole lot of other mechanics you have to nail. It is a macro game that Top will be playing through their jungler.
And it's something that Top just haven't been good at overall. They've been really struggling with, well, feeling like they've got any communication going, like they're looking at the map and playing together as a unit, so this is going to be a good test for them. We'll see what they're going to be able to do with that. It looks like it's going to be the JunJia locked in right here for JDG, and this is just a teamfight composition through and through. They want to be front to backing until the point at which HongQ can find that massive Emperor's Divide, split the teamfight up at that point, and then just run through them with Gala. I really like what they've got so far. It's got a good, strong identity. For TES, they're going to be a lot more about quick picks. They can front to back teamfight if you're going to be very careful with it, depending on what the ADC from JiaQi is going to be, but for right now, I mean, you've got a couple different champions that work very well to pick one or two people off, and I like the combo between the Pantheon and the Ambessa because it makes landing that public execution much easier.
A lot of focus directed up towards top side right now, but I would be remiss if we didn't mention that the Azir lock-in, as much as it is a pretty bland mid pick in the scheme of this game, is interesting in the sense that it also functions as a ban towards next game because of Fearless. JDG have picked up a good champion for HongQ. Again, sort of a bland champion, but a functional team fighter. But they've also effectively set themselves up for success in Game 2 already by removing the favorite champion of the opposing mid laner.
In terms of things that we've really been seeing Creme play, he's only really got the Akali left, so for next game, that is going to be very, very interesting. For JDG, we'll see what their final ban is going to be. Haven't really looked to take anything away from the supports so far. Fengyue are going to be very wide open at the moment. I'd be surprised if you don't want to take something off of the board, like the Alistar, the Rel. Either of those could be potentially quite fun. Obviously, the Rel really good alongside that Orianna. Not going to go towards that, instead going to take away that Aphelios. And so now you're probably looking towards grabbing your ADC right now, and you can leave off until you get your support a little bit later.
Yeah. If we hadn't picked up Ambessa, I'd be thinking about counterpick top. I think that in terms of this series, in terms of success for Top Esports, could be really nice. 369, incredibly talented, but we're not going to be seeing it this game, so no point talking about it too long. A Kai'Sa pickup here, really not bad, especially when we consider that this is a team comp that is incredibly good at diving.
Yeah, I mean, this is really telling us that TES, they're just going in. We're talking about front-to-back team fighting. Nah, they are looking to go flying into the back line, split the lines, make it a lot more of a messy fight. And I do think that that's something TES have played pretty well for themselves. Their team fighting has been one of the strong points. When they don't get caught out on the map, when they all get together as five to go play team fights, that's where they have looked really good. JDG gonna respond with an Alistar pickup right here. Yeah. Just a good team fighter overall. I like as well that it just can redirect whatever's coming from TES. You just jump in, nope, can push you straight back out, and it also really stops the Rel, which would have been really good with this TES composition, from being anywhere near as high priority.
Yeah, fantastic pickup. The big green flag for JDG. 100% win rate Alistar into a dive composition is feeling pretty good, but Fengyue might want to roll the dice, picking up his most powerful pick. He's thinking between the Poppy and the Rakan. What do you prefer right now?
I think that the Rakan gives you a little bit more of that non-committal engage that you kind of need, but at the same time, you do kind of just want some extra tankiness. You don't really have a true tank. You've got a lot of pseudo-tanks at this point in the game, and so they are going to go towards the Poppy. I do like that. I think it gives you that little bit extra, but then the non-committal engage is a little bit risky, right? You're now relying very much on a Poppy wallbang, which is a little bit hard to hit, or a public execution. Really, the main combo that you have right here is between NaiYou and Creme leaping on in, getting that big shockwave off. It's not that you can't hit it, it's just a little bit harder overall.
Yeah, I like what you illustrated is the decision that TES were making. Are we better when we full engage, or do we feel better fishing for them? And TES, credit to them, have chosen an extremely committal draft. This goes in, it does nothing else. And that should be great for TES, who, like we talked about, have a fantastic conversion if they are ahead in gold. However, they need to get ahead in gold first. That is something that not just the team necessitates, but this composition desperately needs.
Absolutely, dear. I mean, you are up against a composition out of JDG right here that wants to get into the later game. You want to get that 3-4 item point onto your Ionara. You want to get that onto your Azir as well. This is a composition that gets better over time. The Scion as well. We didn't even get time to talk about that during the draft, but I feel like that really brings this composition for JDG together. They needed some front line that could just soak up a lot of the damage, and also as a Scion, you don't care if you get hit by the public execution or that shockwave combo. You can absorb so much pressure by just standing there, being in front of you. You and the Alistar together, that's going to be a really good combo, and the fact that Vampire's so good on this Alistar as well, I do think I personally prefer this JDG composition, but I agree with you that I like how much committal Top Esports have gone for. They're not being scared in this game. This is a very aggressive comp.
Yeah, JDG have absolutely gotten away with a fantastic composition to play Generalist, though, and it is up to Top Esports to attack that in Game 1 of JDG versus Top.
We try to listen to the gyros, and immediately we're going to get some aggression right here. Nobody going to die. Both of the mid laners going to take a decent chunk of damage off of them. And it'd be interesting to see how much that can impact going on forwards. Obviously, the poke that can come through from both of these champions mid lane is going to be massive. Fancy Feet going to be critical to not get poked out too far and forced into an early reset.
Really liked the way that HongQ has been playing this split, said it before, and I'm sure that during the course of these games, I will say it again. Right now, on Azir, he gets to play pretty easily up against the Orianna at level 1, but things can get a little trickier later when we are clearing waves at distance and really looking for activity on the map. Gala and Vampire also with a slightly weaker level 1, especially since the Alistar level 1 is notoriously bad.
Yep. Absolutely, and especially because JiaQi stepping up right there, Kathian Rain, just going to deal a lot of damage if you can get it single target, takes a good chunk out of Gala. The second that you hit this level 2 though, all of a sudden you can step up a little bit further as JDG's bot lane, and this bot lane is potentially going to be very explosive. Both of the junglers starting towards the top side of the map, they're recognizing that, they want to get involved down in the bottom lane potentially as well, and if you can get either one of these lanes ahead, well, that is a great way to just start snowballing out this game.
I don't know if you guys caught it, but in our lower third of the screen, we had an audience vote that came up pretty heavily favoring JDG. As a lot of people would expect this late in the season, JDG are extremely favored to win this series, and even this game on an individual level, just given what they've shown to us so far, and it is up to Top Esports to reverse that. They've put a lot of pressure on JiaQi, on the Kai'Sa, who can blow people up should she get ahead, but it is going to be a game that largely focuses on what NaiYou is able to do to make that happen. Just now finishing clears towards the bot side, along with JunJia.
I mean, with how far forwards JDG's bot lane are pushed, you could potentially look for a gank. You're going to recognize that, obviously, a little bit of vision in the area as well. And with JunJia down in the area should be safe enough. These bot lanes, though, will be explosive as we get closer to the level 6s. For the minute, we're going to have a little bit of a watch towards the top lane. And as much as I don't know we're going to be talking too much about the top lane individually during this game, I think 369 has kind of been the best part of TES throughout this split. As much as they've struggled, Top Esports have at least had some great play from their top laner.
And against a Scion as well, there's a lot you can do. This is one of those mini-map moments as JunJia pops in, and Creme was paying attention this time around. Backs away and manages to evade what otherwise could have been a fatal gank. It'll be a reset from both jungler and mid laner on the side of JDG. And a teleport back in from HongQ. I'm expecting to see the same thing out of Creme soon.
Yeah, I mean, you really are just looking to push this wave through as much as possible, get that quick reset off. For right now, though, it's going to be a little bit miserable. Very low health, very low mana. You do have NaiYou in the area, but he's very unlikely to come and try to gank on towards you for right now. Instead, people moving up towards the top side of the map. Going to be spotted out, though, is JunJia. Know exactly where he is on his Krugs, so you're not going to push too far forwards here as 369.
Teleport will be forced out of Creme as well. Knowing that HongQ used his, that's one thing, but we all saw the freeze that HongQ was pulling in the mid lane to force this out of Creme. An awkward position already, and the wave still pushing into HongQ forces Creme to continue overextending, which is a risky thing when we consider that there is not a whole lot of vision protecting him.
And if you are JDG right here, your game plan has got to be test Creme. See if he's paying attention. See if he's woken up today. Because in the previous matchup, that's where you got a lot of your success. In the previous matchups that other teams have had versus TS, that's where they've been able to exploit this roster as well. And if you could just keep repeat ganking, keep seeing if he's available. I mean, is he just dead?
Tower plate. He just dies.
Yeah, what?
He just dies.
What?
I was thinking about outplay potential in the top lane, and I just watched this man outplay himself. I might watch another kill go down, but HongQ will get out of it.
I wonder if we're going to get a replay of that one, because I just want to see it again. I want to try get into the brain of 369. Why? For why?
What's that tower plate? Literally, I mean, I want to tell you that there is some huge brain reason, and I guarantee you that if we get the 360 no-scope replay of that, it's going to be a man hitting a tower till he eventually expires. To his credit, he did get the tower play.
But 369, you know that First Blood is worth gold again, right?
Yeah.
Like, that does give over gold at this point. JunJia potentially looking onto the mid lane. Creme very pushed forwards.
He sees this. An Emperor's Divide will not be used by HongQ, who's pretty low on mana, to be honest, to actually make this an otherwise deadly or flashable gank. Not a whole lot expended in the early game, however, but with Dragon up, and it has been for about a minute, it does seem that JDG have priority on this with a bot lane push in their favor. And NaiYou focusing on the top side. There's no vision to spot this up, so Xiaoxu, despite the fact that he got first blood, could go down here. Has level 6 to try and escape. Might choose to use it, but unfortunately is going to get stunned up once by the public execution and once by the Pantheon, who jumps right in on top of him. Xiaoxu still alive as the dragon will fall in the favor of JDG, and they will gladly trade their top laner's life.
Took a while. Took a
He's
really
going
long
for
while.
it! He's going for it!
2. Okay. Just about going to be the stun coming through from NaiYou. I think 369 was just about going to be okay. Needed 2 or 3 more auto attacks to... And
That
this
took
is
too long.
explosive in the top lane. Not where I was particularly expecting a lot of this aggression to go. Both junglers pathing towards the bot lane early. Looked like that's where they wanted to play. But I guess when you have overextensions from both of these players, why not?
Critical juncture for us here as well. We just saw a gank happen up towards top side by the Pantheon without Grand Starfall. Now he's got it online. So down 1 dragon, but up a full kill. NaiYou has a lot of potential to impact the game in the next few minutes.
Absolutely, he does. And this is where you really need to accelerate yourself ahead. We've been talking about this TES composition as being aggressive and as to needing an early gold lead. Well, this is where you get it. The point at which you've got that level 6, you want to be using that Grand Starfall off of cooldown. Wherever you can use it, any of these lanes are potential options to go for the ganks. At the moment, he's just looking to farm himself up a little bit more, but you have to imagine he's going to be getting pretty close to heading back for one more reset and then just looking for a kill.
Positive trade for JDG as JiaQi was alone on bot side. It was Fengyue who went up top to secure some aggressive vision. You can tell it really panned out a lot of blue in the top side jungle of JDG.
It really is, and you need to be quite careful right here as JDG that you don't just get forced out around this next set of grubs that will be spawning. You don't want to have this much darkness around an objective if you want to go fight for it. At the same time, potentially, as JDG, you can just think, we don't really need to compete for this one. We can afford to just spend a little bit more time farming up. The onus of getting this game started and rolling isn't on JDG, it is very much on TES, but at the same time, they've got a composition that is pretty competent in the side lanes. Having those grubs in hand would be really helpful.
This could be a kill. Vampire knows
Yep.
Fengyue is there, and there's not a whole lot of ways out of it. If Fengyue does have flash and will invest it, even that small amount of time, very worth it for JDG. It's a small commitment for summoners.
Exactly, and now that's going to be down for the next Drake coming up in a couple of minutes' time. If you wanted to roam up towards the top side, you don't have it available for you there. Still, at the same time, it is going to be NaiYou sees people down towards the bottom side of the map and will just head straight towards these grubs. Should be able to pick up all 3 of them. As much as JunJia is making his way up, should be way too late to be able to really impact onto this objective.
Alpion's super efficient at clearing the grubs as junglers go. This 369 has unfortunately taken some more negative trades up against Xiaoxu. Zion has hit some important itemization up against the Ambessa for the early lane, having a lot of damage when 369 is hitting him and when 369 is standing in his general area.
At this point, Xiaoxu just needs to chill. He doesn't really need to push the pace of the game any further forwards as well. And as much as he did die during that gank, it's a Scion. This is what the Scion is for. Absorb pressure, you get on early kill as well to accelerate him a little bit further forwards. Oh, nice.
Emperor's Divide flashed late, but that will be answered back as HongQ sees the Grand Starfall coming in and is forced to respect it with no mana left on the Azir. Creme can shove in another wave, get a small advantage here, and actually open up NaiYou for an invade as well.
NaiYou just about gonna think better of going in a little bit too far, but yeah, HongQ without any mana. Flash for flash right here in the mid lane. That's gonna be far more impactful on Creme. Obviously, the Orianna way less mobile than the Azir is gonna be. Those shifting sands give that little bit of extra protection. So it is still gonna be worthwhile for JDG, but they do just have to be careful.
Nice steadfast presence. That is the split-second reaction that you're gonna need to keep your AD carry alive. I will note as well, we're up about 10 minutes, and while this gold lead is not huge by any margin, it is a technical gold lead for top esports right now. If they can hang on to this for the next 5 minutes, statistically, it's going to go well for them.
Exactly, and you do really want these small marginal gold leads up until this point where you're getting that first item completed. First item completed for TES is where this composition really comes online. We talked about the 2 breakpoints they have, the level 6. You didn't really use that to great effect as TES. You grab yourself 3 grubs, which is something at least. But now, once you get that first items completed, which are pretty much coming through across the board, this is the point where you really have to start accelerating the pace of the game. If this game continues off at this leisurely pace that we're seeing right now, JDG will begin to get back into this one, and really, it's going well for them.
Yeah, I mean, looking towards the bot side, Gala, despite his team not being ahead by any means, has collected a small gold lead for himself. Same thing up for Xiaoxu on the top side off the back of First Blood, but it really is going to be a Yunara and a very backline-focused game for both JDG and TES. TES need to access the backline of JDG, and JDG just need to protect theirs, and by God have they got the tools to do it.
Yes, they do, but how well will the execution come on through for them as both teams begin posturing around this Drake? Top laners do both have teleport as well, so you can bring them down if you think you really need it. JDG gonna start it up.
First item complete for Gala, not the case for JiaQi. This is a ill-advised fight for top esports, but
no.
They are gonna yeet JunJia right out of there, and suddenly the smite difference is gonna make this a whole lot easier. NaiYou can grab this one right now. Vampire is low. Gala will collect a kill, trade it out for his support, but with Creme unfortunately walking into the river, it will be another kill that goes the way of JDG. A 2-for-1 plus the dragon, and maybe a little bit more, as JunJia comes down to punish an overextended NaiYou, who flashes away, will not get knocked up. 2-for-1, still in the favor of JDG, but again, dragon goes to top.
And that's Gala just beginning to rip people's heads off right there with the Transcend Self, despite the fact you've only got 1 item completed. The only reason that wasn't a complete disaster for TES because of Fengyue getting that nice Keeper's Verdict off. They at least get themselves the dragon, equal them up 1 apiece, but you can see the gold lead has now exploded back in the favor of JDG.
This guy wants to take the 75% win rate Poppy and make it an 80% win rate Poppy. He might just be able to do it too with plays like that. JiaQi uncomfortable on the bot side, but going to be able to escape. Got me nervous walking towards the bush with an Alistar, but no, we okay.
Hey, I think he would have been okay anyway. Without a minion wave available, Gala would have been hard-pressed to step up in that situation. Still, always better to just be able to walk back away. He does have to keep stepping up here, though. Otherwise, he's going to lose out onto his entire tower, this whole minion wave worth of gold, and more importantly, the minion wave worth of XP. Just about with the Acathian Rain going to be able to clear this wave out, but the pressure continues on, and as much as Fengyue can try to step up and hold on to this wave, this pressure from the bot lane of JDG is really, really oppressive.
Outside of supports, it is Creme that is lashed to complete the role quest on the map. It's a small note, but definitely one that impacts the tempo of this game. Creme has had a couple opportunities to go well up against this Azir, but HongQ has been managing the matchup quite well. In the meantime, having completed first item, 369 feels a little bit more comfortable up against Xiaoxu, so good news for TES.
And he's going to feel really good up against these squishier members as well. That's where he's really going to be able to pop off. Fengyue takes a big chunk of damage, but at least he's got that steadfast presence to be able to get himself back out. Both of the junglers making their way down towards the bottom side of the map right now.
Gala's been rotating into the mid lane, though, and he feels comfortable up against Creme. He might just solo kill Creme. Forces the flash out of Orianna, and Gala gets to continue shoving this wave in.
Again, it's going to be a flash-for-flash situation, and with the Transcend Self, you do get that little bit of dash, so it's not the end of the world for Gala to lose out onto that one. Still, very, very aggressive of him, and one of our only criticisms of Gala so far this split has been that sometimes when he tries to do it all himself, he's gone a little bit too far forwards. Blowing the flash right there, I think that's a bit of half of one, right? It's a little bit aggressive. We'll see if it costs him in any of the upcoming fights.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that, well, on paper, yeah, you just wait 5 minutes. We have Rift Herald up right now, and
There's
in 2 minutes, we've got a dragon fight. Exactly, exactly. We're not on vacation.
No, we can't just be sitting back and allowing the game to happen to us fully, especially not as TES. That's why I don't mind it out of JDG. That's why I think that Gala playing aggressive there is quite fun. NaiYou, really scared right there. I mean, look at that, just popping the shield out of pure fear in that situation. This jungle is getting scarier for TES to walk into, and we talked about needing an early lead for them. They certainly haven't been able to do that here.
This is another situation though where I don't mind how NaiYou has been playing. Unfortunately, at 15 minutes, yes, his team is slightly behind in gold. Not a good statistical bit of news for them. Dive towards the bot side, not awesome either. Creme is unfortunately not able to play League of Legends.
No. No, he is not, and that is a little bit unfortunate. Of course, that does pull multiple members of JDG down towards the bottom side of the map. That is going to result in this Rift Herald. We'll see what the use of that can be. They're obviously already going to lose out onto first tower down in the bottom side of the map, but with only 2 turret plates on the mid lane tower at the moment, if you can get the Rift Herald into the mid lane, that could open up the map for TES. They just need to make sure they get some good use out of this objective.
And not to move past this either, this is another mini-map moment for Creme. He knows as well as anyone that his full team has committed up top side to take the Rift Herald because they saw so many members of JDG bot. It is a completely avoidable mistake by Creme that now puts him down 0-2. It's not the worst thing. Yes, it's comebackable, but the team is already behind, and now having lost their Orianna once again, plus the tower, one of those things could have been avoided.
With a composition that needed to get ahead. Now you've got 20 seconds until the next Drake is going to spawn. You're behind in items. You're not going to be anywhere near as strong to be able to step up. We'll see what the impact is going to be for TES, but JDG, you've got to be feeling very confident about the way that this game is going right now. HongQ got the Seekers as well, so he's got that extra level of survivability. A potential skirmish here.
JunJia definitely feels confident stepping up to NaiYou with Gala as strong as he is. No stun going to connect onto the wall, and Gala even manages to dodge the Keeper's verdict. Now, no kills will go down, but a Rift Herald will be thrown out. First tower in the mid lane going to go the way of top Esports.
And that is good. You get the good gold out of it that we were hoping TES would be able to do, and it does just open the map up quite a lot for you. Still, you do expend a lot of your health bar, a lot of your resources pushing forwards onto the mid lane right here. You get the tower, but it is going to cost you the Drake most likely. I mean, as NaiYou, do you think you can really even step up to this one? I think the answer is going to be no. He goes and takes his Krugs, and it's going to be a second Drake into the back pockets of JDG.
Not a bad way for this to go for them, and perhaps starting to stack up resistance if they have access to future dragons. Mountain Soul will make Sion basically unkillable up against a dive composition. Good news, potentially, for JDG on the horizon, and something that top esports can no longer afford to give up. Next couple of dragons will be critical. A little bit of vision cleared out towards bot side as JDG and top esports want to make sure that their laners can push up as far as possible, clear waves as comfortably as possible, especially as top esports have yet to take the bot lane tower of JDG.
And if they can take that one, it's just going to make their push through onto the top side that little bit easier. But when looking at these compositions overall and the point at which we are at this game, 2 items completed onto NaiYou. This is the peak of the power you're going to have. as a Pantheon. From this point, it's just downhill from here, so you really need to make the most of this. Try to find one of those big Grand Starfalls. We haven't actually seen a big Grand Starfall. There was one attempt into the mid lane. HongQ was just able to turn around and walk away from it. Beyond that, he hasn't used this global ulti whatsoever, and that's just not good enough. You need to be able to use this ulti, otherwise any champion with a standard ulti, a teamfight ulti, would be more useful.
And that means that you have to return. When we saw an ult into mid lane out of NaiYou, what we never saw is him walking back into mid lane to punish a flashless Azir. These can't just be one and done ganks, one and done cooldown expenditures by top esports. They need to be as focused in the game as they were in the draft. They've got a fantastic dive composition. JDG are not just going to let you have your win condition for free. And right now, top esports really want to jump on top of Gala. They managed to, but unfortunately, with how far they're behind, even this little bit, they cannot one-shot Gala. They have forced him back, but protected by JunJia and Vampire. Top esports, they don't even get a flash out of the opposing AD carry.
Oh, and look what you lose for this mid lane, top lane. 369 is going to have to walk down towards that play. If he leaves a little bit earlier, maybe he's able to get there for the public execution and grabs a kill, but he sticks around just a little bit too long. It costs them both a kill down in the mid lane and this top lane tower. The gold lane continues to expand out, and as much as that is the proactivity out of NaiYou we wanted to see, it's a little bit late, as you highlighted, and it just doesn't work out for them. They're not getting any of the value from this. 2.5 minutes until the next Drake is going to spawn. Soul point if JDG are able to grab that one, so they are still going to be focusing on that as much as possible. At the same time, though, with Baron available up on the top side of the map, any big lost teamfight right now could cost you dearly.
JiaQi and Fengyue have found an isolated member, though. Vampire will get the heck out of there with a quick use of the heal. But focus definitely tending towards this Baron right now. Both teams pretty close in the grand scheme of things. One good team fight out of top esports, one good isolation onto Gala could be it, but they've instead been isolated themselves. JiaQi goes down in the mid lane, and it is disaster for top esports, who now have no way to contest the Baron, the vision around it, but more importantly, the dragon that's coming up in 2 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that you can go straight towards the Baron at this point. Instead, it may just be a collapse right here onto 369. He's stuck around to take himself a couple of turret plates. We have seen this already. Gets pushed back as well. This is just a buy time for the team to arrive.
Emperor's Divide just makes the positioning out of 369 that much more difficult. Flash for flash. Up top side, 369 incredibly mobile, but JunJia does land that little bit of CC as NaiYou comes in really late, but maybe with the help of Creme, with the help of a shockwave, could turn this around. They answer one back. HongQ is now alone, flashes away, but cannot get out from Fengyue. It is a double kill for Creme, and top esports show up right in time.
And this is just a really odd set of plays right here from JDG. They go push towards the top side of the map, and when I said, this is just an Emperor's Divide to buy time for the team, I expected a couple more members to be coming along. I think you'd expect that you would bring a few more over. Gala especially decides to just stay mid, keep pushing through the waves, and that leaves you exposed to the counter-engage out of TES. Yes, you do manage to pick up the kill onto 369, but this public execution specifically is massive. You can see, JunJia tries to sidestep it, but just about gets caught on into it. It buys you enough time as 369 to flash away. You've got the massive speed up coming through as well, and the whole team is rotating through. In the picture-in-picture, Creme nearly dies right there. Should just be able to get on away, and it's just way too much time spent.
I love the body blocking out of Fengyue as well. His skill on the Poppy this split has been really on display, and in this game, you can feel it impacting the game plan of TES. Teleport up towards JunJia, as he is forced to expend Crescent Guard to survive. This next Mountain Dragon now firmly in the hands of top esports. They can start this whenever they want, and they're going to start it up now. JDG still have 5 members standing. Fengyue has to play frontline for the team.
Ooh, I mean, you could just step up as Xiaoxu.
NaiYou gets bumped right out of the pit by Headbutt, but JiaQi free firing in the backline, actually doing very well with 369, flanking and publicly executing Gala. Top esports turn the fight around at the Dragon Pit. Pick up, perhaps not the Dragon, but 3 kills on JDG? That's pretty good.
And they can turn back around and go straight on towards this Baron. I mean, it is going to be a little bit of a risky take. Wait, no. HongQ's decided to just push bot lane. He doesn't want to go and compete for this one at all. And that may well have been the throw out of JDG. Yes, they get themselves the Drake. Yes, they are on soul point. But what a weird split fight. I like the decision-making out of TES, actually, to just step back for a second and not overplay onto this one. And right here, this is critical. The fact that you land another one of these beautiful keeper's verdicts that just completely wrecks the fight. And this public execution once again. We talked during the draft phase about how public execution in and amongst big messy team fights, can be quite hard to land. So far, there's been no problems for 369.
Those two cooldowns, ultimates both, out of Fengyue and 369, completely shift the course of the fight and completely shift the course of the game. This might not be a straight-up TES win in the same way as JDG were not completely home free coming up to the last fight, but the shift in momentum towards top esports that comes out of that fight is undeniable, and this next dragon all the more risky as we've still got a ways to it. It will be soul point for JDG. JiaQi going to get engaged on in the mid lane, but manages to get out of that as only Kaisa can do. Top esports have their pick of the litter.
I mean, he's pretty slippery right there, just about going to be able to get on away. And what we saw in this previous teamfight is what's going to bear out for the rest of these teamfights. Which of the ADCs is allowed to sit and hit? If JiaQi is allowed to sit and do his damage, well then these should be win teamfights for TES, but...
Public execution. Right onto JunJia, now stunned into the wall, cannot be damaged from far away. Fengyue ejects 3 members of JDG, and that makes it an easy pick on the jungler. 5v5, difficult. 2v5, not so much.
I mean, it felt a little bit like an anti-synergy at first, you know, that's 3 members who have just had a big chunk of damage done to them, who've punted away, but it works out in the end. The re-engage coming through from JDG.
NaiYou, fortunately enough health to tank up tower for a little while longer. No more public execution, though, means that Gala should be all the safer, but he takes a big chunk of damage out of Creme, who is now feeling much more comfortable in the Orianna with 2 items completed. JiaQi, not even present for the fight, shoves a wave into the mid lane, continues to extend the gold lead for top esports, and specifically for himself. 2,000 gold in the favor of JiaQi. He might not be Thanos snapping people, but as a Kaisa with a dive composition, he's as close as you're going to get in the LPL.
Yeah, I think you're going to be more than happy with the way that he's been playing this one out. The Fiend Hunter bolts as well in inventory is just going to be ripping through people right here. As soon as he pops that ulti, just taking people's heads off. But it's not just JiaQi right here. Creme has also been an absolute sniper, just moving the ball around command attack. Every single time has been landing onto Gala, and it's doing half health off of him. Gala as well is in a very strong position. He's been forced to go towards shield though, so a little bit less damage for a little bit of extra survivability for him because of the damage that Creme and JiaQi have been doing to him. TES, they weren't ahead at 15 minutes, which usually spells disaster for them, and with an early game focused team, they've been able to fight back into this one. A very impressive look so far. Can they close it out?
1 minute left on Dragon spawn. And Fengyue definitely doing his job, setting up vision and cutting out JDGs around bot side of the jungle. It is the goal of top esports to make this uncontestable, and I will say, fortunately for JDG fans and team alike, this is a dragon you can't afford to give up.
Yes, absolutely. Stepping up a little bit too far right here to go compete for a Drake that you don't need isn't really going to be worthwhile for them. If you get the good angle for a team fight, though, I can see JDG still trying to compete for this one. They have been very aggressive so far. Gala specifically, he looks like he is trying to have that hero moment, that all-pro moment potentially. And if he can find it, I mean, this game is still on a knife's edge. As much as there is a 3k gold lead, JDG, they're just about coming up to that 3-item mark across the board. That's where this composition truly gets online.
Every single summoner up across both teams, and you have to imagine that they want to keep it that way. Top esports are fishing for ways to blow summoners from JDG, so that not even around this dragon, but around the Baron that comes up in 2 minutes, it's all the easier for them to take. But top esports, for all of that, could give up a risky position themselves. Creme's TP'd in, almost equalizing the numbers, and down comes JiaQi. It's 4v4 on the bot side, as we saw both top laners now stepping away from each other, with one TPing back towards the fight. It is going to be
going in.
Xiaoxu that comes in, goes for the engage, and forces the flash out of Creme. That is big. NaiYou stuns him right back, but Sion, being Sion, takes 0 damage. Huge flank out of 369, unspotted as of yet. He's going to look for access on Gala. Vampire playing Peel for his AD carry.
Vampire finds 369. That can snap this engage in half. There we go.
Dragon half HP, and out goes the Alistair. 369 looks for Gala. Forces a flash out of him, which is big. Still zoning out the AD carry. JunJia in the front lines with a whole lot of crescent guarding going on as well. JDG take almost no damage, but Gala commits for NaiYou and gets instantly deleted by Creme. It is a huge amount of damage coming out of the Orianna, and JDG, with just 2 members left, will give up their last, and it is an ace for Top Esports on the Dragon to follow.
They're going to get themselves another one of the dragons, and you can now establish control across the board as well. 30 seconds until the Baron is going to be spawning. I'm not sure they can instantly start this one back up, but a teleport, but a base, and back out onto the map is going to look great. JDG, I mean, I understand wanting to fight for this. You're getting into the strong point, but Gala, way too aggressive in the end.
I'm going to take a look at how this impacts the fight as well. Vampire gets booted out by the Keeper's verdict.
And that's going to be your Peel all of a sudden just gone. Still, Gala at this point with the flash away from that public execution is massive. And at this point, he's dealing himself some decent damage. He's hitting through the shield for the most part, though. Only just now starts dealing damage onto NaiYou. NaiYou able to get away. And this is just... I get it. You're looking to take out the jungler, but you know that all of your opponents are stood in the bush. This is exactly what we've been highlighting as, oh boy...
Cut back to live, just continues being a good news story for Top Esports. JiaQi, Thanos snaps HongQ, and Top Esports now have the Baron, no mid laner to face up against, and an engage from JDG to protect a little bit of vision is fine. It's fine.
Hey, you gotta try something. I mean, at this point, you're beginning to bleed this game out. Gala heading back to base, see if he's got another fully completed item. If he does, maybe there's a chance to turn things around. Yes, he is going to be able to grab that mortal, so at least you've got that little bit of extra damage onto Gala. But when we were talking about this player, we said he could be great, but he sometimes tries to do a little bit too much. Right now, though, he is going to have to step up big for his team.
Watch Shockwave from Creme. That has been given specifically to Gala. No other member of JDG has had the honor of wasting Creme's Shockwave so far. Another big shield out of NaiYou just completely negates any retaliation that JDG might have. What a Shockwave connecting onto 4 members, and as Sion rockets forward, Xiaoxu expires before the train even reaches its end. Public execution right on top of HongQ, leaves the Zero at 1 HP, and it's 369 and NaiYou all over the backline of JDG, with JunJia the last standing and the last to fall. It'll be a double kill picked up by NaiYou, and a win in Game 1 picked up by Top Esports against JDG.
As much as JDG came into today as the favorites, Top Esports, they're playing for top 4. They needed to win this series. What a performance it was. I feel like everything we had expected, everything we'd set up coming into today, got flipped on its head. That was Creme playing incredibly well. That was Gala stepping way too far forwards and getting himself caught out. And that was TES overcoming a gold deficit at 15 minutes.
And we definitely saw what happens when Gala's team is not ahead. As much as we're talking about this guy for All-Pro, you mentioned yourself that his strength is going to be when your team is ahead, when you're able to make plays happen off the back of everyone else actually being in a pretty comfortable position. That was not the case here, and we saw how that's actually a pretty big weakness of Gala, at the very least in this game, against a composition that, if we can be honest, was meant to kill him.
Absolutely, everything about TES's comp was meant to go in and make the lives of HongQ and Gala as miserable as possible. HongQ got away with it a little bit more by virtue of being a Z, you get to sit a little bit further back, but Gala was having a pretty miserable time of it overall, and the fact that he likes to play as aggressive as he does when his team is in a great spot, it's awesome, it looks wonderful, and sometimes when his team's behind, he finds that team fight and he turns it around and he gets all of the highlight clips. That's why people love Gala. I love watching Gala for that reason too, but it's got to be stressful. As a JDG fan right here, it was stressful in the previous years, an IG fan, where you're like, dude, no, don't go for that play. Why are you flashing over that wall? It can sometimes cost them very dearly.
Yeah, at times you could definitely see JDG losing composure in a matchup that, I'll be honest, I don't think that they realized they were going to lose until it was much too late. Top Esports did a fantastic job, again, despite not having a gold lead at 15 minutes. Once they got one post 15, they did not let it go, and it was around some incredible team fighting that they were able to put together. 369's public executions really lining up, of course, but I gotta give love to Fengyue. This guy's Poppy completely changed the game for Top Esports, and I'd go so far as to say that if that Poppy were not in the game, they probably lose this game.
Yes. I mean, you saw during the draft phase, they were going back and forth between the Rakan and the Poppy and deciding whether or not they needed themselves a little bit of extra tankiness, whether or not they were going to play with some non-committal engage, or just we ball. And hey, in the end, they decide to go all the way in with the Poppy, and I would put Fengyue as my MVP for this game. It's not going to reflect in the stats, of course, looking at who did the damage right here. 369, you can't take it away from him. Other than that first top lane play where he walks in and dies for a turret plate, everything else that he did in this game was incredibly impressive. But Fengyue was everything to this win. He was all over the map, and in these team fights, the fact that he was laser point accurate with that keeper's verdict, punting people out multiple big team fights in a row where you only win them because he's able to move people out of the way and buy space for his ADC, for his mid laner to be able to do their jobs.
Yeah, we're going to take a look at some of those plays right now. The nice turnaround from Top Esports here was a big turning point in this game, much like the fight around the Dragon Pit that occurred just a few minutes earlier. JDG got caught extending a little bit too far for their own good, and that was a funny turnaround to see, especially given what we had foreshadowed with Creme earlier.
That was the turning point right there. If you don't overcommit top lane for that 1 kill onto 369, you probably have this game go completely differently. This was kind of the icing on top of what had already been a turnaround game with the beautiful keeper's verdicts. You're seeing them in every single fight with the public execution landing onto the correct members every time. It's pretty rare, I think, at this point in the meta for us to have a top laner and a support be kind of the best bits of the overall team fights, but that's what this was.
Yeah, like, looking at that fight again, I know that we talked about ejecting Vampire from the fight because Vampire is Gala's peel, but taking away HongQ as well, the only way HongQ rejoins the fight is teleporting on top of an Ambessa. And you tell me, Bloxer, the last time that a winning team fight started with your mid laner teleporting on top of Ambessa.
I'm sure it's happened in a bronze lobby somewhere, right? But not at this level. I mean, not unless you make some kind of horrible mistake. Yeah, it just really was the sniper show out of Fengyue to be able to hit every single one of them. I don't think we watched him miss a single one of the keeper's verdicts, even get flashed away from, right? There were a couple of times, I think, in this game, it's worth mentioning, where we just saw a lot of these unstoppable onslaughts going pretty far wide out of Xiaoxu. Because people were flashing away from them, and you're like, okay, at least you get a flash. But it wasn't the case for Fengyue. He wasn't getting his ulti flashed away from. He was making them hit every single time. He was finding the correct moments or the flashless members. It's that extra level you can go to that's not just blowing cooldowns from your enemies, but actively winning team fights for your squad. And for a top esports that, we will repeat, are competing for a top 4 spot in Group Ascend right now, what a critical game to really step up in.
And who off the back of this game, there is a very realistic chance that they do this. I think back to this morning series for those of you who were here just about an hour ago, and you could tell after game 1 things were not going to go that well for Thunder Talk. You could tell coming into the series, but after game 1, I mean, man, oh man, this game, you come off of it and you go, yeah, well, JDG may be the favored team, but oh yeah, they gave it to a support, baby.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
You know it's a good performance when the support gets it, especially in a game where an Ambessa did have a pretty pop-up performance and a couple big plays. Hey, 369 was good, but Fengyue, absolutely, this is the single most ethical player of the game vote we've had all split long. Beautiful.
Oh, that's me kissing my screen right now. Oh my god. I was so afraid they weren't going to give it to Fengyue.
I was ready for the 369 MVP right there.
369, I also thought, you know, like he had a couple of good plays, but... And man, great recognized great. And the LPL broadcast, they recognize Fengyue. That is a great way to send ourselves off. So I continue saying great. I'm just so excited. I'm so excited about the support MVP. This game one, though, absolutely delivering as TES fight for their spot in the knockout stage. Fight to get out of the Knight's Road. And JDG, the team standing in their way, now looking a little shakier after game one. We'll see what game two has for us right after the break.